That means that the majority of the world, think of it as the Belt and Road Initiative, are going to use Chinese models and not American models. They're really doing something more different than I thought. They're not pursuing crazy AGI strategies. They're very focused on taking AI and applying it to everything. We better also be competing with the Chinese in day-to-day stuff. All the Shanghai robotics companies, and these guys are attempting to do in robots what they've successfully done with electric vehicles.
For years, we've been told the AI race is about who reaches artificial general intelligence first. But Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google and one of the most connected men in Silicon Valley, says we've been looking in the wrong direction. After a recent trip to China, Schmidt revealed something far more unsettling. China isn't chasing the same dream as America. They're not burning billions on risky AGI bets. They're doing something different, something more dangerous. Because while the US is obsessed with building the ultimate brain, China is flooding the world with applied AI, consumer apps, robotics, industrial systems, the kind of technology that quietly embeds itself into daily life. And they're doing it with a strategy the West can't easily match. Open weights, open training data. In other words, free AI. Models anyone can use, anyone can adopt, anyone can build on. And just like their Belt and Road Initiative, this strategy could make Chinese AI the default choice for most of the world. Schmidt's warning is blunt. If America keeps its models closed, expensive, and locked away, the majority of nations, especially those without deep pockets, will standardize on Chinese AI. Not because it's better, but because it's accessible. And once that happens, the values baked into those systems won't be Western, they'll be Chinese. This isn't just a tech rivalry, it's a geopolitical shift. A battle not over who builds the smartest machine, but over who controls the operating system of the future. And right now, Schmidt says, China is playing the long game and winning. Eric Schmidt's warning is simple. While America burns billions chasing artificial general intelligence, China is playing a different game. A slower, steadier, but far more dangerous game. They are not trying to build a God machine. They are trying to weave AI into everything. In Shanghai, Schmidt saw robotics companies deploying machines the way they once deployed electric vehicles, saturating the market, iterating fast, and scaling globally. China's strategy is not to wait for perfection, but to flood the world with good enough robots, consumer apps, and industrial systems. In 2023 alone, China deployed more than 270,000 new robots, 5 times more than the United States. Every one of those machines is a sensor, a data collector, a node in a living laboratory feeding back into China's AI ecosystem. And then there's the software. While the West locks its models behind closed weights and billion-dollar paywalls, China is going open. Open weights, open training data, models that anyone can use, anyone can adapt, anyone can build on. It's the Belt and Road Initiative reborn, but this time, instead of highways and ports, it's AI models spreading across the global south. Nations without capital, without compute, without access to Western systems will adopt Chinese AI because it's free, because it's available, because it works. The result? A world where Chinese models become the default operating system for billions of people. Not because they're the most advanced, but because they're everywhere. And once embedded, they shape values, decisions, and societies in ways that are almost impossible to dislodge. This is China's playbook. Not to win the AGI race, but to own the field where the real game is played, the daily lives of billions. Eric Schmidt's warning cuts deeper than robotics or apps. What's at stake is not just who builds the smartest machine, but whose values that machine will carry into the world. And here, China's strategy is brutally effective. By pushing open weights and open training data, China is exporting more than code. They are exporting influence. Just as the Belt and Road Initiative built highways, ports, and power plants across the global south, this new wave of open-source AI builds digital infrastructure, models, data sets, and platforms that entire nations can adopt at little or no cost. And once those systems are embedded, they become the default. They shape how billions of people search, learn, and decide. They encode not Western values, but Chinese ones. Meanwhile, the United States is locking its models behind closed doors. Proprietary weights, restricted access, billion-dollar price tags. The result is a two-tiered world. Wealthy nations with access to American AI and everyone else turning to China. And in that divide, Beijing sees its opportunity. By offering open AI to the majority of the world, China positions itself as the standard setter, not just in technology, but in governance, in norms, in the very architecture of digital life. This is why Schmidt calls it a major geopolitical issue, because the question is no longer who reaches AGI first. The question is who controls the operating system of the future. If China succeeds, the world's daily interactions, from consumer apps to robotics to education, could run on Chinese AI. And once that foundation is laid, it will be almost impossible to dislodge. The stakes are nothing less than global influence, encoded in algorithms. Eric Schmidt's message is clear. The AI race is not just about technology. It is about power, about who sets the defaults for billions of people, about whose values are encoded into the systems that will govern daily life.
China's strategy is ruthless in its simplicity. They don't need to win the AGI moonshot. They don't need to outspend Silicon Valley. They just need to make their AI the most available, the most accessible, the most embedded. Open weights, open data, free adoption. And once their models spread into phones, into robots, into classrooms, into governments, they become the standard, the operating system of the future, running quietly on Chinese terms.
Meanwhile, the West risks locking itself into a walled garden. Closed models, billion-dollar barriers, systems too expensive for most of the world to touch. And in that vacuum, China steps in, offering not just tools, but influence, not just code, but control. A digital belt and road that binds nations not with debt, but with dependence.
The stakes could not be higher. This is not a question of who builds the smartest machine. It is a question of who controls the future. If the United States and its allies fail to adapt, the world's AI infrastructure, its apps, its robots, its daily decisions may run not on Western values, but on Beijing's. And once that foundation is laid, it will be almost impossible to tear out. The AI race is not about who gets there first. It's about who owns the field when the dust settles. And right now, Eric Schmidt is warning, China is playing the long game and winning.